Today we'll be discussing about PostgreSQL function, trigger function, procedure, and trigger. When we need to use some functionality in the database like common calculation logic, PostgreSQL gives the opportunity by creating function. Let's create a function and check this how it works. We can create function using create function statement. We are also using the replace statement here to replace the function if it's already exists. Here our function name is calculate discount, and we have some params. Our first param is amount, which type is numeric, and second param is discount percentage, which type is also numeric, and function return type is numeric. Language is SQL, and we can set this function as immutable, and this function will return null or null input. I'm gonna write my function calculation logic here. Amount is multiplied by discount percentage and is divided by 100. Let's run the SQL. It's executed successfully. If I'm going to refresh the function menu, then our created function should be appeared here. Let's click on refresh. Yeah, it's showing. And you can also check the function details from the properties menu. Here you can see all our function details are here. We can call this function using select statement. Like this. Here our first param is amount. I am giving it 50, and our discount percentage, let's say it's 5. Run it. Yeah, it's showing the result. So if I am going to change the value, let's say it's 75 and it's 10. Yeah, it's working. So what is the use case of function? If we need to reuse some common functionality in our SQL queries like some common calculation logic, run some SQL, then function can be more useful, though we can do the same things from our application level code. Function has some limitation. We can't use this in the trigger, and transaction is not supported. So let's move to the trigger function. This is trigger function syntax structure. Trigger function cannot take any params, cannot work without return, and return type must be trigger. We cannot call this using select statement like function. It only works on trigger, and transaction also not supported. This is our product table, and we have quantity and available stock column. Quantity column is for the total quantity of that product, and available stock column stores the how much quantity is available in our stock. Let's create a trigger function for updating the available stock column of product table whenever we insert or update orders table. We can create trigger function using create function statement as like our previously created function, but the only difference is that our return type must be trigger. Here our function name is update product stock. We are updating the available stock column of products table by the quantity column of products table minus the summation value of quantity columns from the orders table, where product ID is equal to the product ID of orders table. Here is our update query condition. body.id is equal to the new.id. Here the new.id is actually the order id, which will be comes from the trigger whenever we will update or inserting any data into the orders table. This is our trigger function SQL. Let's run this. Our SQL is executed successfully. If I reload the trigger function menu, then our trigger function should be appear here. So let's refresh it. Yeah, it's showing here, and we can check this. We have to create trigger to run this trigger function. So what is trigger? Trigger is a special type of store procedure that is run when a specific action occurs within a database. Most database triggers are defined to run when changes are made to a table's data. Now I am going to create a trigger. This is our trigger SQL code, and this trigger will be executing when we insert any data into the orders table. So let's run this trigger. Yeah, our code is executed successfully, and we can check this trigger from the orders tables details. Here you can see the triggers menu. If we reload this, then the trigger is showing here. So if I expand this, then you can see this function is linking to this trigger, and we can also check the properties and all the details from here. If I insert any data on the orders table, then the product quantity should be reduced from the products table. So let's open orders table, and I'm going to insert data. Let's say our product ID is 1, price 20, quantity 2. So I'm going to save this. Here is our product table. So let's refresh it. Here you can see our available stock is now 48. I'm going to insert more data into the orders table to check it again. Quantity 3, product ID 1, price 25. So the total quantity is 5 plus 3 plus 2. That means 10. If I reload these, our available stock should be 40. Yeah, our trigger and the trigger function is working fine. Let's add update trigger. Now our trigger name is update product stock on update, and it will be update, and we have to use some condition. Our condition is new quantity is not equal to the old quantity. Let's run the SQL. It's executed successfully. So if I reload this, then our second trigger is showing here. So now if I update the orders tables, then it should make impact on the product table also. So let's check. So I am updating the quantity of the order tables. Now it's 5, so I am reducing it to 3. So here is our total quantity is 3 plus 3 plus 2. That means 8. So our available stock column should be 42. Yeah, it's working fine. So let's update it again. 1, 2, this is 1. So the total quantity is 4. So let's reload it. Yeah, now it's 46. So here we can see our trigger, and the trigger function is working fine as expected. Trigger has some limitations, like it can be hard to debug for other developers. Trigger can cause other triggers to fire. Let's say two table A and B both have a after update triggers. When we update table A, it will update some column from table B, and same for the table B, means when we update table B, it will update some column of table A. This scenario can create a trigger loop that will be creating bug in the application. So my advice is to avoid using trigger unless absolutely necessary. Now it's time to discuss about store procedure. Store procedure cannot return anything and only returns a single row when using inbound parameters. It supports the commit and rollback of transaction. If we need to handle database transaction, pass the param, then we can use it, but we cannot use it to trigger and cannot return data. It can execute using call statement rather than a select statement like function. This is our store procedure code, and the procedure name is update product stock by product ID, and we have one param called product ID. And in the body section, this code is almost similar to our previously created trigger function code. Here $1 means the first param of that function. In our case, this is product ID. So let's run this. Yeah, it's executed successfully. If I am going to reload this, then the store procedure should be appeared here. So let's reload it. Yeah, it's showing here, and we can see the details from the properties menu. Here is our code section that we have created. We can summarize our discussion by this table. A question can come to our mind. I need transaction, pass param, return data, and need support this in the trigger. Then what should to do? First of all, we have to create a trigger function to use it in the trigger. Then for passing params and using transactions, we can create a procedure and call that procedure to this trigger function. Let's update our trigger function and call that store procedure on it. Here is our previously created trigger function. We can change our code from here. So let's remove this code and call the trigger function. Let's check it whether it's updated or not. Let's check our product and orders table. I'm going to insert some new data on the order table. Yeah, it's working for insert, and let's update some data here. 1. So now total quantity is 4. Let's reload the products table. Our both insert and update trigger is working fine with the store procedure. That's all for today. If you like this video, please subscribe this channel. Thank you.